I got laid off 2 days ago.
Unfortunately, today we're cutting staff.
A lot of people are getting laid off from their tech jobs right now.
When I got to Africa, I got extorted by the police in Ghana, and they took my cash. I don't know how to feel.
What's up, Financial Hawks? So in today's video, we're going to be going over tech layoffs, looking at some videos, kind of people talking about their journeys within tech layoffs, either about to get laid off or have recently got laid off, and kind of just share my thoughts on this and my recent job increase into tech as well. So let's go ahead and check out the first video.
More layoffs are coming, and this is a list of all the companies just in the last 4 months that have done massive layoffs. Pause if you want to look at every single one. So earlier this week, Tesla was one of the newer ones at 10% of their workforce laid off. Take-Two, the video game company, is planning on laying off 5% of its workforce. Rivian, the electric car company, is doing mass layoffs, and apparently Google is about to announce a new round of layoffs. Oh, by the way, that latest job report that said we added all these jobs, most of them were part-time jobs, not these 6 figures, provide for your family jobs, part-time jobs. When do you guys think this shit is going to end?
Yeah, now this one is crazy. Kind of just looking at some of the jobs on the list. You got Tesla, Duolingo. That's crazy. Xerox, Levi, Spotify, PayPal, eBay. The list goes on. Snapchat, I'm not too surprised on. I don't really feel like Snapchat has been increasing. I feel like that's just constantly decreasing. And now we got Instagram, TikTok, that possible ban and that whole fiasco. Yeah, I can just see that going down. And also Snapchat with Instagram, Facebook, that Meta, Twitter, and YouTube kind of more taking over for the social media aspect of tech and whatnot. But looking at this, one of those that really kind of got me thinking was Tesla. You would think that it seemed like Tesla is constantly innovating, constantly growing, and yet they're still getting a large decrease. It's at 10% of their workforce is getting laid off. So you can be at the most, more of a higher end job, or like the Google, for example, thinking, you're going to be good here, you're going to be solid for years, and then you still get laid off. So it definitely a rocky time. Even more so now. I felt like last year was kind of crazy, and it looks like it's continuously increasing, which kind of sucks. Which kind of sucks for a lot of people. I actually applied to a lot of different jobs for like Amazon and Facebook. Didn't get any of those yet. I had some good interviews with Amazon at one point, but it kind of just crazy. Like, what if I end up getting that Amazon job or getting that Facebook job, and then like 6 months later I'll lose it? Would it have been worth it to go to that job or another job? So it kind of had to flip the coin. It looks like on a lot of these, and those are kind of just some of the bigger ones. So you can just imagine all the other smaller ones. Also, another point you talked about was that on a lot of these jobs they're talking about part time, and that's definitely true. They talk about how everybody has more jobs, more people employed, but a lot of these jobs are also part-time, or you're barely making any money. These are including the delivery services from Instacart, Walmart delivery, things of that nature, that, hey, you may be making an extra $300, $400 doing that part-time, but they're counting that as full-time work. So in actuality, the percentage of people actually having a full-time job is definitely lower, the percentage of people versus kind of what you're seeing, in the media and whatnot. But yeah, it's kind of just crazy, kind of just looking at this chart. I'll probably have this chart up while I'm talking so you guys can see. But yeah, a lot of those are I was definitely surprised on. Some of them I weren't. Like Snapchat, I'm not surprised on that, but some of these other ones I definitely was.
So this is a PSA. If you're trying to get into tech right now, I really wouldn't recommend you get a comp sci degree or try to go to university. And I honestly wouldn't have said this a few years ago. This is very specific to 2024. I'm gonna go over 3 reasons on why I think getting a comp sci degree is gonna do you more harm than good right now.
By the way, I've ran a tech company for the past 7 years and interviewed over 1,000 software engineers. So the first reason is that it costs too much and it takes way too long. If you live in the US, you're looking at an average about $80,000 to get a comp sci degree in 4 years of your life. And I don't think I need to say this, but like in this economy, you cannot afford $80,000 in 4 years of your life not making money. What you need to optimize for right now is bringing in as much money as you can in as little time as possible. And if you want to do that in tech, a comp sci degree is too long and it's going to cost you too much. The second reason is that a comp sci degree is actually not nearly as useful as you think it is on a resume. Unless you plan on building some really complex shit for companies like Google and Amazon, which by the way are laying people off right now, it doesn't really matter where you went to school. The thing that employers care about the most is, are you able to get up and running and start making the money as fast as possible? And how they figure that out when they look at your resume is they're looking for, do you have previous experience in their business sector? So for example, if you're applying for a job at a supply chain tech company, they're going to look at your resume and see if you have previous experience at any other supply chain companies or building similar software. They don't care that you got a comp sci degree at XYZ University. It doesn't matter. That's not going to make the money. And the last and most important reason is that the skill set you acquire during a comp sci degree is entirely different than the skill set you need in a day-to-day work environment and when you're actually going out looking for a job. And this is super important because it makes you not very employable. You gotta remember, the person that is grading your performance in comp sci is a comp sci professor. They care about how clean your code is. They care about how performing your code is, how right you're doing something, how you wrote X, Y, and Z algorithm from scratch or understand the philosophy or the theory behind X, Y, and Z. Now, the person grading you in the job market is your boss, and your boss's job is to bring revenue to the company and to make money. And so suddenly, all those things that were important in comp sci are now no longer important in your day-to-day job. Doesn't matter how clean your code is, doesn't matter how performant it is. Can you build things at a fast pace that can make the company money? Yes or no? And so in that sense, paying $80,000 and spending 4 years of your life right now in this uncertain job market just to learn a set of skills that may not be fully transferable to get you a high-paying job just doesn't make sense to me. So you're probably asking yourself, okay, well, if I don't go to comp sci, what do I do then, Johnny? If you're curious, check out my profile. It's entirely dedicated to what you should be focusing on to improve or get into a tech career in 2024. Good luck.
Okay, this one, I'm understanding kind of where he's coming from. I'm like on the comp side, not necessarily going that route, I guess in 2024. However, I actually, even though I do see where he's coming from, I actually don't necessarily agree with that fully. I think a comp sci degree will still look good on your resume regardless. I know when I was applying to a lot of jobs, some of them did say that I guess they kind of maybe wanted you to have like a cyber, security style of I guess education for the most part, but a lot of them are like more or less, I say maybe like the ones who did require a college, the one that did require a college degree, about maybe 5% was like cybersecurity related. For me, looking for cyber jobs, most of them, if they did have any type of requirement on the actual degree, it was anything like tech related. So comp sci would have been perfect for that. And I think like the knowledge that you get from comp sci was again help you apply to a plethora of different fields. Again, maybe not necessarily towards the field you may have thought you were going to get into, but you can use that for like cybersecurity or data engineering, XYZ. I feel like there's still a lot you can actually do with that degree. So, and like again, he said this was for 2024. We don't necessarily know how the market's going to be looking next year or the year after that. So you could be a freshman coming in right now, and it might be bad right now, but like in 4 years, it can be a whole lot better. And now another thing he talked about too was, you're spending 4 years, $80,000 plus, and you're not making any money. I do see where he's coming from there as well. However, there are so many different alternatives that you can use today. Like, for example, a school I'm thinking about attending, maybe for like my master's, is WGU, or Western Governors University. It's a online style of school. And I know for me, I heard about it from a whole lot of military people. Apparently, a lot of them like that a lot. And I'm hearing really good things about that too. Somebody in my internship, the lead there, he also was able to get, I think, his bachelor's and master's in computer science. I mean, not computer science. I think it was cybersecurity. It could have been both. I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, yeah, I've been hearing great things about that, and that also looks good. And a lot of employers actually like that. WGU is accredited, all that jazz, and you're able to pretty much test out of courses, test out of like different classes and whatnot. If you already have that knowledge, you don't have to actually take a class for a full semester. You can kind of study how fast you want and then test out. I think that's probably getting closer to the future, and I'm thinking we're going to be seeing a whole lot more of that. So again, if you got like comp sci, do like WGU, like within like a year or two, like your bachelor's, maybe 1 year for your master's, like 3 years, and you already got your master's already, like that quick, or maybe even sooner, depending on like how fast you're going and how dedicated you are. So if you start at 18, by 20, you're already like super golden right there. So I do understand where he's coming from, but I say there are definitely more alternatives now in 2024, and there's going to continue to be more. And again, we don't necessarily know how the tech field is going to be looking by next year, later this year, 2026, 2027. So if you're starting right now in comp sci, I necessarily wouldn't like just give up on that. You can still use that towards other avenues, and although like for example, all the math classes that you're taking, that can definitely help out with other things in tech. So I think it still can be a good, solid degree that you guys can take.
I work for a tech company that has been around for 20 years and has never done layoffs. It's always been a part of their kind of culture and mission, something they've been able to say. And this morning they announced their first round of layoffs. And I have not been affected yet. As of right now, I'm not getting laid off in this round, but it doesn't mean that I'm not soon. And it just goes to show how job security really just does not exist anymore. Working for a company that has never done layoffs for 20 years does not mean that they're not going to just lay you off tomorrow. Unless you work for yourself, you are so replaceable at a drop of a dime. There's people that have been laid off that have worked for this company for 8-10 years. Some of them, these people have been around since I've been in middle school that are getting laid off. And I feel guilty because I still have a job and they don't, but also like it's not my fault, but I just don't know how to.
Yeah, no, this one definitely sucks. I've been a part of something kind of similar to a layoff for the most part. Back when I was working at Towers Watson, One Exchange, usually every year they cycle people out because they need people like during the own season when we're like constantly on calls with people. But then afterwards, they take people. They take like 90%, 95% of the staff pretty much out, and it sucked because like I was one of the lead people. I was knocking out insurance premiums. I was knocking out applications for clients. One of the top people, and I still was one of the people who got laid off. So it wasn't necessarily because of I guess what I was doing at the job. More so like if you fit in with the culture, or you fit in with the right people or the right supervisors within your pod, and kind of more politics like that. So yeah, that definitely sucks right there too. For the people who got laid off at that tech company, and a lot of other people are getting laid off at their tech companies as well. There really isn't like a job security like she was talking about. You can be working there 15, 20 years and still get laid off. I saw that at Tower Watson a lot as well. People actually came to the company from being laid off at a company that they thought they were going to get their pension from and all this other stuff. They've been working there for so long, just turned 60 and get laid off before they before they turned 65 and was able to retire. So being able to work for yourself and be able to make secondary or tertiary income is definitely good. Something I definitely recommend on this channel as well. But yeah, having a full-time job is not necessarily bad, but yeah, you will have to work. You will have to work, just to be sure that you're not like the first person on the chopping block. But even still, things can happen. You may not fit in with the culture. X, Y, Z things can happen. So yeah, it can definitely suck. Definitely keep upskilling, keep grinding on your skill set, especially if you're in tech, so that if you do get laid off, you have a higher chance of getting another job. And I guess I would say one thing too, if you are in like a tech job right now, you do get laid off, you do have one thing that a lot of other people don't have who are trying to get into tech, and that's experience. A lot of people are looking for experience right now. So if you do have the experience, you can, brush up on your resume, make sure your LinkedIn look good, and you will have a higher chance of getting a job versus somebody who has zero experience. Because again, they're really looking for that, and I may talk about that in one of my next videos. But yeah, they're really looking for that heavy. But yeah, I like that video, guys. If you have any other thoughts on this, definitely let me know in the comments section. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Hopefully none of you guys have got laid out, but if you have, tell me kind of what your game plan is now, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.